ሁሉም ሀገር የየራሱ የሆነ ታሪክ አለው። ታሪካቸውን ያስቀመጡበት መንገድ እኛ እንድንረዳው ያደረጉበት መንገድ በጣም ይገርማል እና ራሽያን ቪክቶሪ ሙዚየም ይከብዳል ታውቃለህ። ባሩዱ ነው። ሰላም ዩቲዩብ እንዴት ናችሁ? ዛሬ ደግሞ እንግዲህ በሌላ ቪዲዮ መጥቼላችኋለሁ። ዛሬ እንግዲህ ራሽያ ሞስኮ ከተማ ውስጥ የራሽያን ቪክቶሪ ሙዚየም ልጎበኝ መጥቻለሁ። ልክ እንደኛ ሀገር እንደ አድዋ ፓርክ እንደማለት ነውና ራሽያን ቪክቶሪ ሙዚየም ነው ያለውን ነገር ውስጥ ምናምን አሳያችኋለሁ። ሰብስክራይብ አድርጉ፣ አብራችሁኝ ነው። ይሳል ይመቻችሁ። Romi.
You here? You here? You here? Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, press play. But right now, please follow me.
This is a Russian Victory Museum. We here.
Russian Victory Museum.
Yeah. ሶስት እናየዋለን። ጋሻና ጦር ነው ያለው ወይስ መድፍና ታንክ ነው ያለው የሚለውን ነገር እንዳለ we will see. Yes, I.
Before we start our tour, let me tell you about a few small rules which are not really rules of our museum. If you are interested in some of our exhibits, please go. You probably know June was the first actually changed everything. Right now we are in a flat which belonged to Lieutenant Kizhevakov, commander. When we say about Great Patriotic War of 1941-1945, we usually say the war started 4 a.m. 22nd of June 1941. In reality, for many bodyguard patrols and bodyguard stations, the war started in June. And almost immediately, this planning fortress was completely encircled. But those fortress started not from the battle itself, but rather from a rescue operation. Soldiers rushing to their homes, to the village nearby where families of soldiers lived, and started bringing civilians here in the fortress in safety. But no one knew, no soldier, no civilian. No one should shoot medics. No one should bring weapon to hospital. Nazis simply didn't care. Hospital is burning. But not because of some stray bullet or some random spark emitting from grenade nearby. No, the hospital is being burned by Nazi flamethrower groups. Flammenwerfers were brought to the fortress to burn everyone, civilian, soldier alike. And medics started to rescue civilians from the burning hospitals. They were bringing them to a small patch of grass nearby where usually children like to rest. They are waiting for their parents after the regular checkups for the soldiers. But in just about a couple of hours, first Nazi Sturman troops will manage to stay alive during this filtration. It was used by Nazis as a huge to push inside the fortress. Central building of the fortress is a club where soldiers used to during the evenings. But right now the club is burning. Only 3 soldiers right now inside this club. They know this building would become their grave. No way they can survive. But from the top of this club, one can shoot literally everywhere in this fortress. One can destroy everything in the inner walls. So, if Nazis manage to capture this club, they could place their ampule throwers and machine guns on the top of the building and start killing civilians trying to escape the fortress. So the soldiers decided to make their final stand here. Due to their sacrifice, at least 35 civilians were saved. But it was too late. The fortress was completely overrun. Lieutenant Kizivatov was killed 20th of July 1941. He was here in the inner walls of the fortress for a month, barely with any food, without ammunition, constant hand-to-hand combat. But he knew he and his soldiers must stay strong. Why? It's not because they must protect the fortress, no. They must protect civilians, their families, who are still inside. City called Smolensk, a small village called Lana. Every guest who comes to our museum receives the same question about me. Doesn't matter where you Russia. So, I'll ask you, do you know about this village called Lana? That's surprising, because land does not exist anymore. Go to the ground. The civilians still exist. No respect, no elder, no anything. All of them villages, farms, and cities were burned by Nazis. 25 million people died in September. Nazis came to this village. And school, a place for children to learn new things, to socialize, to meet new friends, became German HQ. And small plaza in front of the school where usually improvised parades of pioneers and October kids were held before the war became French forces, Slovenian forces, Croatian, Finnish, Italian, Spanish, destroyed everything. All those soldiers you see here, despite wearing German uniform, are not Germans. They're French. Civilized people.
Стоять! Кинулись. Кулаки.
They're coming from Lanina to Artuzova. Order of commander himself.
Проходим. Не задерживайся.
Also, one should say that all temple cities was just some random desire of enemy soldiers who came here. No, it was planned. It was planned for the destruction of the Soviet Union. As you know, every nation has its own mentality, the way of thinking. So people from different countries think slightly different. And in German mentality, there's a special thing called Ordnung, or order in English. Germans like this evacuation, well, everything. Secret police knows basically everything that's happening in the country. So then command and so-called railroad troops was obviously remaking train cars from being used for luggage, goods, etc., to being used to transport humans. Sometimes to be repurposed for transporting people, both soldiers to the front line and civilians from the front line, were cargo cars. This car is called in Russian НТВ, нормальный товарный вагон, or in English, Back in the 30s and early 40s, every family in the Soviet Union had on average 5 kids. Imagine yourself a young parent. 21st of June, beautiful warm summer day. A miracle happened. You had already 3 boys, and now a girl. A girl is born. Your wife comes to you with a small screaming piece of cloth. You open it and you see your beautiful baby girl. But next day you are walking not by scream of your child asking for food. But let's not forget that 3 million lived in Stalingrad and its outskirts. No more. 91% of buildings destroyed by Nazis. Gone and bombed locally. But still, civilians are still present in the city, even during the battle.
كيف شوف يا ولد
But numbers go up to 30,000 people. They were working to help soldiers. They were working in the not deep but nearby area. Where on a factory called Bolshevik. Bolshevik factory before the war produced tractors and farm equipment.
ይከብዳል ታውቃለህ። It's heavy.
ይኸውልህ አንተ ማለት ልክ ነህ።
Assembly of aviation, assembly of planes.
ባሩዱ ነው ባሩዱ
ማስታወሻ ባሩድ የለም?
ማስታወሻ ይዘን እንሂድ for Russia.
86%. So if medics did the impossible. Probably you know about blockade of Leningrad, as we call it sometimes our northern capital. But Leningrad, during the siege, people are dying of hunger. This top one city who got invaded. So Leningrad was magic roots of a tree. Cut those roots, and the whole tree was built in the 13th century. And well, destroyed, but not by German, by Spanish troops. The whole city of Veliki Novgorod was plundered by French and Spanish troops. It's one of the oldest ancient cities in Russia. when Red Army forces had to liberate the city, the few remaining civilians came to soldiers and asked to help. Soldiers said, well, don't worry, we will rebuild the living quarters, the producing plant, very quickly. Red Army did. 3/4 of concentration camps, 3/4 of countries. Vienna, silver-haired and beautiful. And it actually is, by this day, our doctrine explicitly stated. Named after Adolf Hitler, central square of that time Berlin. And right now it becomes the place of in his eyes, his face, and he's puzzled of what's happening. He did not say attack. He never shouted hooray, but his soldiers already charged. The final destination and the last house of war. Soldiers called Reichstag, house of German army. Battle of the Reichstag lasted for almost 2 weeks. One building, 2 weeks. Every step our soldiers made was paid in blood and death. But every step gets us closer to victory, to the end of Nazi plague, which almost completely destroyed.
በጣም የሚገርም ነው።
ኢሞሽናል ያደርጋል ሰውዬው ሲያስረዳ ፊል ታረጋለህ።
ታውቃለህ ሁሉም ለካ የየሀገሩን ታሪክ ሲነግረህ ሁሉም በቃ
አሁን እንትን ሆኖ እንኳን ቢሆን አትፈርድባቸው ነው። አሁን እሱ እኛን ነው ገባ
እነሱን በራሳቸው ሳይድ
እነሱን አይዲዮሎጂ ነው እኛ በምን በቃ ገባ በአሳዛኝ መልኩ ምናምን
ግን እውነት ለመናገር እውነት ኢሞሽናል ያደርጋል
በጣም
I want to ask you to line by 4 people in every row.
Наступает минута молчания.
ጋይስ እንግዲህ አሁን ራሽያን ቪክቶሪ ሙዚየምን ጎብኝተን ወጣን። ጋይስ በጣም ይገርም ነበረ ውስጥ ያሳለፍነው ሞመንት። ማለት ያው ሁሉም ሀገር የራሱ የሆነ ታሪክ አለው፣ ግን ደግሞ እነሱ ታሪካቸውን ያስቀመጡበት መንገድ እኛ እንድንረዳው ያደረጉበት መንገድ በጣም ይገርማል። እና ሁሉ ነገር ዲቴይል ያስቀመጡት ስቶሪውን እየነገሩን ራሳቸው ራሱ ኢሞሽናል ይሆናሉ። እኛ ራሱ ኢሞሽናል እንሆናለን በማያገባ፣ ግን በጣም ደስ ይላል በቃ። እና ላይክ በጣም ቆንጆ ኤክስፔሪየንስ ነበር። ራሽያ ሞስኮ ራሽያን ቪክቶሪ ሙዚየም ነበር የጎበኘ ነው ዛሬ። ጋይስ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጋችሁ እንዳረሱ። ኔክስት በቀጣይ ቪዲዮዎች እመጣላችኋለሁ። ወዳችኋለሁ። ፒስ አውት። ይመቻችሁ።